Did you know that you can fit 1.3 million Earths in the sun? It's so much bigger than we think it is. And I think writers have the same misconceptions when it comes to word balloons. They are bigger than you think they are. And as you're considering what your comic is going to look like as you write it, you need to consider the placement of the word balloons. They are just as important as the art itself. And if you don't, you're making it harder not just for your artist, but for you as well. In this video, we're going to figure out how to place the word balloons in the panels, whether you can draw or not, or whether you've made a comic or not. See, word balloons and comic art are like two chemicals that can either harmonize or explode, depending on the quantity. This is super scientific and not something that I've just made up on the spot, so pay attention. If we take a standard panel here and add some art, notice what happens when I mix this with some word balloons. One word balloon in and we're still good. How about two? Yep, that's okay, but maybe we should think about stopping. Oh, we're adding 3. Okay, well that's definitely starting to impact the artwork. 4? Okay, you're taking the piss. 5? It's too much. It's too... Now you could just leave this balancing act up to the artist and the letterer, and if you've got a working relationship with an artist and or a letterer, that's probably fine. But if you're new to this and you've not hired anyone before, then you really need to consider this in the script writing phase before you hire an artist or letterer. And to be honest, if you get this right and you understand it, you probably won't really need a letterer. Sorry, letterers. Letterers are really important, but in the interest of saving money, you could probably do it yourself. Don't come for me, letterers. You are respected, but I don't know how to finish that sentence. Also, if you've considered the word balloon placement within your script and you've planned out the panels appropriately with that in mind, your artists and your letterers will thank you, and therefore they'll be more likely to want to work with you again or to recommend you to others. So it is worth it. So all that out of the way, how do we do it? For this video, I'm going to use the script from Shaun of the Dead so that I'm not influenced by comics. I'm going to take this speech from Diane and see how I would place the word balloons as if this were a comic panel. Your initial instinct might be to put that entire thing into one speech bubble because it's one continuous stream of thought. And that's fine, I guess. There's nothing necessarily wrong with it, but there are better options. And to really work this out, you need to really think about what your characters are saying. So when you think about the piece of dialogue that Diane said, there are 3 parts to it, I think. The first part is this, the second is this, and the third is this. Now watch as I separate these out and we'll go through why I chose to do this. I think this looks better. It separates the ideas out and looks more pleasing on the page and easy to read. So why did I do it? Well, the first and second part are a continuation of the same expression. They're both in reference to the restaurant that her and Daphs go to. So we start this top word balloon with her talking about the restaurant after suggesting a nice meal, and then we have that slight tangent about how it does all the fish. But these two things still belong together, so I can separate them as 2 thoughts within the same expression. And then we shift from this to her talking about Shaun's anniversary, which is a separate thought from the restaurant, but still part of that same character's dialogue. So I move that space down to separate those 2 thoughts within the same overall expression. Hopefully that makes sense. I know that can be quite confusing. It took me a little while to get my head around it. But if you want bespoke live tutoring for your specific comic script, I'm doing a beta launch of a live cohort-based course for comic writers that you can find more information about in the link in the description below. It's going to be 10 weeks long and it will include live lectures, a Discord server, tasks for you to complete, as well as one-to-ones as and when you need them. I'm really excited about it and I hope that you could be one of the first to sign up by clicking the link in the description. But for now, back to word balloons. Let's do one more quickly so we can really nail this. We're going to skip to the part of the movie where Shaun is contemplating whether to go upstairs to see whether Peter's home. Here is the dialogue. Now hopefully you'll have a better understanding of why I'm doing what I'm doing. If we stick all of that dialogue in one word balloon, we don't really allow for the pauses or thoughts within that expression. But if we do this, and we separate point A and B into connected balloons, then add Pete with a tail and must have gone to work with another tail, we are including those pauses or beats within the dialogue, which also help the reader read it in a way that we want them to read it. Being able to plan your word balloons out based on the script ahead of time gets easier with practice, and it also helps a lot if you already know what the visuals are going to be, because then you know where within the panel the balloons are going to sit. And I used the film to inform my choices, but what if you don't have that and you just have a script and a blank piece of paper? Don't worry, we're going to cover that too, and we're going to cover it with our trusty storyboard. I storyboarded out that previous bit of dialogue from Sean, and I gave myself as many options as I could. If I was doing this for an actual comic, I would probably give myself more options or less, depending on how important I felt the scene was. Option 1 is a single panel, very much like how Edgar Wright directed it. Option 2 is where I decided to spread the dialogue and action over a few panels, and the third option is the same but a different variation. I just wanted 3 things to show you. Now you could have 4, 5, 6 or 2 variations, it's up to you. I did 3 because this is just for a YouTube video. Again, if this was for a comic that I was making, I might consider having more. If you're struggling, it probably means you haven't found the answer yet. So add variations until you start to feel comfortable, because also you can combine the different options you have. And whichever variation you decide on is going to be based on your page layout, your page counts, your scripts, and your personal tastes. All of this is just about you making the best informed choice that you can. But word balloons don't really matter that much if your story is boring. And to find out how to pick out the key moments within your script and turn those into panels, check out the video on screen.